And to Newswatch, well, I don't know about you, but the cheap point scoring and politics about the handling of this coronavirus is, for me, too much. I think the times mean we should be a little bit more forgiving and collegiate. Mistakes, yes, have probably been made by the government, inevitably, since it is, in fact, we're all dealing with a mystery virus that is spreading amazingly fast. I think on the whole, you'd have to give it pretty good marks. But if there have been failings, and I don't know that we can judge until it's all over, to be honest, but if there have been failings, there's a good way of making points to learn for the future. And then there is this way on the ABC last night, as AIDS expert Bill Bowtell abused Aged Care Minister Richard Colbeck, even questioning what was in fact a crystal clear fact.
You're getting the information that older Australians at the moment, at least in New South Wales figures, are more vulnerable.
Well, if you look at the numbers of people who have passed away so far, they are all over 60. So I'm talking about the mortalities.
Well, believe that you have the advice you require to go on.
I think we're talking about two different things.
This lazy assumption.
I think we're talking about two different things.
I don't get that naked scepticism. Colbeck was right. All the 5 Australians who have died so far are 77 or older. In Italy, more than 90% of the dead, 90% were 70 or older. You didn't know that? And yet this Bill Bowtell kept treating the minister like he was some kind of liar or dunce.
The panic is there because the lies and the misinformation have been circulating in the Australian community for weeks and weeks and weeks.
All of the actions that we've taken to date have been to try and slow down the growth of the virus within the country so that we can...
Rubbish.
Hamish,
well,
can I offer a
Bill, I think that's
rubbish.
What was rubbish about that? I don't get it. Joining me on Newswatch is Gerard Henderson, head of the Sydney Institute, columnist with the Australian newspaper and author of the Media Watchdog blog. Gerard, why that pointless aggression?
Well, I like Bill Bowtell, and he's done good work in previous years, but last night he was extremely angry. I think it's fair to say, I mean, I'm a former Liberal Party staffer, Bill's a former Labor Party staffer, he's not a great friend of the Conservative government, and he got very angry. Now, to be fair to him, he was in isolation, he was not on the set, but he was extremely angry, extremely rude. He misread what the minister said, and he just got away with aggression that was really close to bullying. I mean, if someone had done that if a Conservative had done that to a Labor person or a Green person, they would have been denounced for bullying. I just thought he lost it last night, and these matters can be debated. As I understand it, the government's acting on the advice of the Chief Medical Officer. I think last night on the Q&A set there was only one medically qualified person, who was the doctor from Melbourne. Other people have been involved in various campaigns, and the minister himself said he wasn't medically qualified or scientifically qualified. And the government is acting on the basis of people who are top at disease control, as I understand it. But in any event, there's a way to have an argument and there's a way to be rude and aggressive, and last night we saw the latter and not the former.
And I haven't even shown the whole lot of it either.
Yeah.
The host, Hamish McDonald, where was he when all this was happening?
Well, this is another problem with Q&A. It's been there all the time under Tony Jones. It's worse under Hamish McDonald. The presenter is not willing to protect the person who's getting the pile on, getting the attack, and invariably that's either a Conservative or a Liberal or National Party minister or a non-political Conservative, someone who's not in politics. And so if the audience weighs in, and last night there wasn't an audience, by and large there were a few people there, so a panel member weighs in like Bill Bowtell did, there's no protection. Now, I would have thought if anyone was at my institute and someone got up and said someone was talking rubbish, or not telling the truth, I would intervene. I would say that was unprofessional. But you can make unprofessional comments, you can be abusive, provided you're attacking someone that most of the panel don't agree with or the audience doesn't agree with, you get away with it. And Hamish McDonald now, not for the first time, offered no protection. I make the point very quickly in passing that for the first 2 weeks of the program this year, Q&A never even mentioned the virus. It wasn't even discussed. And now they've become experts on it. But I just thought, look, it's just unfortunate.
I thought it was just... it's such the divisiveness of the times, really, which I think is now totally inappropriate when we're trying to pull together on this one, that, you know, you've talked about it before, how Liberal ministers are now very reluctant to go on Q&A on the ABC, which is a real shame, national broadcaster, but I can quite absolutely understand it, given the abuse and the heckling and the jeering that they're subjected to. So finally, when a Liberal minister does go on a subject of a national health emergency, he still gets it. I mean, what is going on?
Well, the demand last night was that the Prime Minister or the Health Minister should have been on, or both. But why should they be on? I mean, why should anyone subject themselves to that kind of abuse when there is no defence? If you're the Prime Minister or the Health Minister or a junior minister like Senator Colbeck, you can't defend yourself because you can't be as aggressive as your attacker, and you've just got to sit there and take it. I thought the Minister did quite well last night in a very difficult environment. But that environment shouldn't exist, and that's why Conservatives won't go on the program, because you can't have a considered, intelligent discussion where people disagree with each other. You only have these kind of abusive rants where people are put on the defensive and can't defend themselves. So my advice again is to all Liberals and Nationals and Conservatives, just don't go on the program. It's just a waste of time.